Hey everyone, welcome to another webcrunch.com guide. This is going to be kind of a different one where I do things in real time. That's going to basically take the WebCrunch site, which is on a Rails 6 basis app, and upgrade to Rails 7. The current version of Rails is 7.022. And I think I just want to update it. Right now, I can't even run it locally. I changed computers. I'm recording on a new computer. Getting node modules and stuff installed with that has been a chore. So I'm kind of ditched node dependencies, which are required from Webpack in Rails 6.0. As you can see, I'm a bit behind with this app. I just haven't had a ton of time to update it based on everything else I'm working on. So I figured, why not show what I do in public and just like walk through it. I haven't even tried this yet, so it's not even rehearsed, nothing like that. So you'll probably see me stumble and maybe cuss and throw things, but it's okay. Doing this is kind of a pain, and often upgrading a Rails app, the bigger the app gets, the more you want like test coverage and stuff like that. I don't have a ton of tests with this app. I'll be straight up honest. It's a basic blog, so I just made it very scrappingly and just kind of went with that. So I won't be doing this like the way you probably should, but I'm just going to do it to get my version updated, all my dependencies updated, and just operating using a new CS bundling, or CSS bundling and JavaScript bundling, which is going to be using ES-Build hopefully, and then also just basic CSS. Right now the app uses Sass, which is kind of baked into the prehistoric Rails 6 model. But most of the logic happens in this JavaScript folder, which references a pack. I'm going to probably ditch that in lieu for ES-Build. As you can see, there's a ton of crap going on here just for highlighting code and just requiring new stuff. Hoping I can do this without having to research a ton, but we'll see. The goal is to move from Sass to CSS, basic CSS, because with Tailwind, it's basically you don't need CSS or Sass much anymore with PostCSS as our way to kind of compile things. I'm going to just go with the flow here and try to get things going. Right now, on my system, I've already installed Rails 7. So, and I already tried to just do a yarn install, and you can see this garbage is coming back like it's already a pain in the ass to use. So what I'll start by doing is just removing basic node dependencies in this case, so we can actually get the app booted. Like if I run Rails, let me update the size here of my terminal. If I run Rails server at the moment, it's just going to be like, hey, you need to install yarn stuff, and it's doing crap that I don't want to do. Without further ado, let's just get started. Again, I'm going to stumble through this, so bear with me. And I can't even get the editor open, so that's a good start. So let's do. Okay, so what I want to do, and you'll see behind the scenes of this app, basically just stuff I've used. Pretty basic setup really, for a blog with some payment built in stuff. I'm going to reference the package.json file. Most of this stuff is way outdated, like PostCSS, purge CSS is used by Tailwind now. It's not even part of an additional dependency you need, so we can just start by removing that. So yarn remove, or yeah, I think it's remove. At full human, post CSS, purge CSS. That's one thing, okay. And definitely remove Webpacker. I'm going to remove that. Like Tailwind, I'm not even on version 2. That's how old this is. It's on 3, I think now. So if we keep getting errors here, I'm going to try to just remove my node modules and yarn lock file and see if that helps. I might just do that because I already know this is going to bark. And now it's going to make me do that yarn install. I don't really want to, but there's a lot of outdated stuff here, as you can see. And then Node Sass is going to break. I don't know what's up with this. Maybe it's my version of Node. I don't really know. Don't care. I just want it gone. So I'm not sure how to best remove this. I'm sure there's a simple solution, but ideally I just want to remove Rails Webpacker. But you can't do that for some reason until your dependencies install. I don't know. It's kind of stupid. Maybe if I do it manually. and just do a yarn install. I think what I'm going to do, actually, just to reference, I'm going to go in my code folder. I'm going to just do Rails new. I'm on Rails 7. I'm on the latest. So if you hadn't installed that, you can run gem install Rails, and it should fetch the latest. And that's just a global install. So I would do that first. And then for this, I'm going to make a dummy app. So just do like Rails new dummy. Maybe I'll do CSS. You could pass C here, and I'll put PostCSS. And that's ultimately what we're going to use with Tailwind instead of just their Tailwind Rails implementation, simply because I want more control to make components using like the @apply statement and stuff in the CSS. You can't quite do some of that with the Rails gem, so that's why I'm not using it. And more on that in a second. But this will install CSS bundling for us. And then also I'm going to do J here and just put ES-build. That'll install that for us too. So I'm going to just do that. And this will be a reference app. So it'll give me a good idea of what actually is installed on the Rails 7 typical app. So migrating over isn't quite a chore. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to reference that app, cd dummy. We'll open it in a new window. It's going to be kind of a pain to look at alongside this, but that's okay. Okay, so the package JSON file is what I want to reference first. We've got hotwired stimulus, so all this stuff isn't built into Rails. Now we can just go ahead and add those. I'm going to remove these as dependencies. Auto prefixer. I'm honestly just going to do this. Probably goes against the command line gods, but it's okay to me. So I'm going to remove stimulus here. We'll upgrade Tailwind manually, or using the CLI. I think that's it then. And then we want to remove this. Okay, let's see if this works even. Back in this screen, I'm going to go to the profile. There's a probably easy way to change that, but that's all right. So yarn. Okay. And for good measure, delete this shit, and then also this, just so we get a clean slate. And I like to just clear my trash when I do that, so you never know when there's like cached versions of stuff. So let's do that one more time. Yarn. It'll go from scratch and install this stuff. This is all just to get the damn app to run. So, okay. I don't know why public is new. Whatever though. Rails server. Okay, so if we go back here, localhost. I just want to see some stuff. Okay, so we got pack tags still. That's because we don't have Webpacker anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and remove some of those things and update that. So one thing we definitely don't need is Babel. We're not using that. What else? If you go into your config folder, there's going to be a Webpacker YAML file. I'm not needing that. Then we'll have a Webpack directory here. We're going to just remove those. Initializer. I'm fairly certain I didn't use anything like Vue or anything in this app. If you do use that, you might need something more sophisticated than this setup. So you might consider running a different ES-build or different JavaScript compilation. You could still pass Webpack as a tool to use there, but it's not 100% necessary these days. So that's just one thing to consider. Then, okay, I think that should do it as far as getting our old dependencies out. I'll double check. It's most of this stuff as far as I'm aware. No, we don't need this. The bin commands app. Now, the big differentiator here is the JavaScript directory. That's going to be needing to change. We're going to want to move all of our CSS to the assets pipeline. We're going to come back to this in a second. I'll show you that. But first I'm going to install and update Ruby for one. We're on 3.2. I did update that recently, but the Rails version is definitely not up to date. So since we're getting this error, I'm going to go fix that too. Application or layouts. It should be under header. So shared header. It's a partial I made. We don't need the pack tag. I'm going to actually just remove this because I think when we install the ES build stuff, it will do the trick for us. I use Stripe and Braintree. In certain posts, I haven't enabled this at all, but I have a payment gateway on some posts on the site. Haven't really felt the need to charge for stuff, I guess, because some of the content should be free to me. But there we go. There's our basic stuff. No CSS compiled, as you can see. So we have nothing to the app, but there is data. So that's good to know. Cool. So it is booting. That's at least a good sign. Right now, Ruby is 3.1.1. So I'm going to just do it this way, 3.1.1. I'm probably going to have to install this on my version manager. I use the RBInv, I think it's called. So I'm going to update it here and then also in my Ruby version. So the 3.11, this should make our app bark at us saying, hey, you don't have that installed. So you should probably do that. And you could just say RBNV install 3.1.1, but it's going to say, hey, you don't have that yet if you haven't done this brew upgrade Ruby build task. This takes some time, so I'm going to fast forward through it. Once that's done, we can go ahead and install 3.1.1. All right, that was pretty fast, actually. Sweet. So let's do brew or RBMV. Now you might use RVM. That's fine. Just do the same thing. I don't know the commands, to be honest. I've never really used that one. But install 3.1.1. Should go fetch CloudFront URL to download that and install it. And while it's doing that, I noticed I have this browser list or C file. I don't need that either. Let's see, config, that's part of Rails. We don't need that, or we do need that. Let's see, public. There's going to be a packs folder here. If we generated anything, you might check that you did. If you have it there, you can delete it safely, I think, at this point. I don't have many tasks. Yeah, I do have a import. Cool, cool, cool. We'll get to a command. Rails has its own guide for upgrading, and there is a command you can run to do that. We're going to do that eventually. The idea here is just copying up over configuration and application files that just update certain dependencies and whatnot in the app. The big shift here is we're going back to sprockets to compile assets and stuff, which is cool. If you've not used that, it's pretty sophisticated how it works, and it's honestly, to me, it's what inspired like all these other package managers. When it's like way predates their time, which is crazy to think, but it does, and it does a great job. So I don't know. There's been this big train on let's make everything more complicated, JavaScript add-ins, and it's just been kind of I've always wondered why we can't just build basic websites anymore. I don't know. Anyway, I'll wait till this is done, and then we'll get started here. This takes a while, so if you want to get a cup of coffee or a beer, depending on what time it is, go for it. All right, it is done. So we could say our BMV. I should have quite a few versions here. Versions. What is it? Version? That's the version of it. I forget what it is. Let's do the command and see. BMV. Here we go. Version, no flags. Okay, yeah, I have all three, but 3.1.1's the latest, so that's cool. So now in this directory, you shouldn't get an error just being in it, which is a plus. So on the latest, the hard part now comes installing on all these dependencies. I have quite a few gems, and some are going to be a bear. So I'm going to actually reference that other app and remove stuff I know we don't need. Let me go check that out again. if we go into our gem file, there's going to be new stuff here. We do need image processing, so I'm going to find that and add it. Maybe I don't. It might be bundled with something else now. Probably leave it for now. Some of these gems are going to keep stuff from installing. I already know it. So like I'm using CarrierWave, really old version. Devise is pretty old. Friendly ID, Honey Badger, meta tags. Like this one, look at this. I had to use a reference hash on it. Like that's a bad sign when you need to do that. Okay, let's see. I don't think we need Webpacker for sure or TurboLinks. I am going to upgrade PG to be the latest, and we can just delete this bit. And they should be, let me just do this real quick. Sort. Oh, that didn't work out. Let's see if we can do that. Okay. Alphabetical order all day. Okay. Let's see what happens with this. I'm going to update the test stuff to be pretty much what's standard here. There's a new debugger with Ruby, so we can go with that. I have Capybara installed and database cleaner. I'm going to just use the latest and greatest there. You can add these versions. It's kind of, I don't know. It's up to you. Like major versions might make sense there. It kind of keeps your gem file from updating to stuff you don't want it to. But there is a gem file lock file, and that's essentially the way to version your stuff if you need like it to make sure you're not going to install things you don't need, or different versions, I should say. I'm going to get rid of Sass Rails. I know I don't need that. We're not going to use Sass. Paggy. JBuilder we probably need. I'm going to remove the version there. I'm going to remove this too. Boot snap. Do we use that? We do. Require false. I'll use what they're using over here. I'm referencing this file, by the way. In development, we've got debug now. I'm going to just pass that to the same test and development environment instead of bybug. I'm using the faker gem in some areas as well. Spring isn't now necessary unless you really need it, so I'm actually going to remove those. Listen's the same. I think it's part of Spring. I do use letter opener to preview emails locally, so all is well there. I think we're clear there. Redis, I think I have that. Yeah, 4. It's the same version. We will add these. I'm going to add those in command line runs. I might just actually do that one. Stimulus Rails on right here. And Turbo Rails. JS bundling we'll add with the command line, same with CSS bundling, just so we get all the dependencies. That's kind of a generator you can run. Puma's way behind, so let's update that. SQLite, why am I using, oh, that's the other app. Sprockets Rails, I'll add that back. Sprockets. There's Sidekick here. I think Sidekick just got updated. I'll just do that. Receipts. I don't really use this gem, I don't think. Okay. All right, so the source of truth here now is, let's copy the Rails version. You can get the latest from the main branch. I'm just gonna go and get what the app just installed, which is the latest and greatest. And I think we're clear to, I'm gonna remove that too, give this a shot. So what I tend to do, and it's gonna probably bark at me, is just do a bundle update and see what the hell happens. First, I'm going to do Rails, bundle update Rails specifically. That allows you to update Rails to the specific project. This might break. We'll find out. Yeah, okay. Active record, annotate gem. I remember that being an issue. So let's see if we update again. Annotate resolved to 3. Okay, let's comment that out. There we go. You might find where you need to uncomment or comment certain gems to get this shit installed, and it is kind of a chore. Okay, with those installed, that means we can update a lot. So Rails at this point, we're still installing stuff related to 6, as far as I can see. Active support, yeah, we want those up to 7. So if we say bundle update, let's see what happens here. Okay, carrier wave, I might update. Okay, so we're using Rails 702. Let's double check if we Rails server. It's probably gonna bark, but if it gets and shows, yeah, okay, we gotta update some stuff still, but it is booting in that application. I just wanted to see that it was doing that. Okay, so let's now figure out why we can't install the server or run the server. Let's first, I'm gonna get the latest version of Devise before I forget. I know there were some issues. All right, 481, yeah, that's not the latest. So let's copy that. I like to version Devise. There's sometimes breaking changes in friendly ID. This is how I just kind of wing it, you know. Let's just see what high voltage is at too. High voltage is a cool gem just to give me some basic static pages in a more modular way. And it's pretty much the same version, so .411, slightly higher. Cool. All right, let's see. Just do bundle update again. Did bundle and then bundle update. Okay. Now that should give us time to update, do the Rails update task. I think that's part of what's happening with the loading issue. So if we do Rails app update now, it's going to go through and do some like find and replace on the configuration side. So application, you might check like your application file. If you have anything fancy in here like this, I'm gonna probably copy it into a new file because it's gonna run through and ask if you want to replace it, and it will. So we'll do it file by file. This isn't a great way, I don't think, but this is what works for me. So up to you how you want to run it. So let's do Rails app update. And it'll just basically walk through your app. Oh man, annotate. Let's go back into the gem file. Let's see if we can install this. There we go. I forgot to uncomment that gem. Now we should be able to do it. Okay, so we have a boot. Let's go into that file. And it's in config boot. And we'll just say, do you want to overwrite it? And it's just basically yes or no. So UI, we'll say yeah. Conflict application, we'll say yes here, but I'm going to go back. See, it removes some stuff. I'm going to add some stuff back. I'll just add it at the end here. Okay. Delete that application there. I'm going to probably remove those. And this. Okay, and next is environment. Let's check that file out. Initializers, environments. Where the hell is that file? There. Yeah, we can overwrite that. I didn't change it. Development, definitely changed that one. So we want to double check everything that did change there. I use letter opener. I'm going to just copy this file and then we'll do a compare and contrast. All right, so I'll go ahead and say yes to overwrite it. But then I'm going to do a 2-up, and I'll do that real quick in this view. Okay, so we've got development. Here's the old version. Here's the new version on the right. Kind of wish they were on separate windows, so let me do that. There we go. I'll close that. And so left now is the new version. Here's the old version on the right. So I'm going to do these. You might add like a section that's like custom, so future updates are easier to spot. I know for sure we had local here. We added letter opener, so I'll put those at the very bottom, and I think that's mostly it, to be honest. So I'm just say perform deliveries true. Just means that you can send emails while in development. A few things updated otherwise. Okay, I think we're good with that one. The other one's going to be production environment. We're going to want to copy that too. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just make a new file, paste it in. We'll do the same thing here. So left will be the production version or updated version here in a second when we run it. So I'll say yes. And there it goes. But we need to definitely double check this because you're going to have a different active storage service, for instance. Right now it's probably local. I want that to be Amazon. I use AWS for this app. I have since switched to Backblaze. I'd recommend it. Cheaper and works pretty damn well. I might do a video on how to set that up. All right. Like there's some new configuration settings, so it's a little confusing to know what you should change versus not. But to me, I kind of just take the framework's word for it in a lot of cases. Like there's certain things at the very end. That's why I dump everything at the end on these files, because you know it's pretty much custom after you've done it. So here I use Postmark for my stuff. I'll just say custom here as well. This is my mailing host. So if I send you an email, or if I think the only emails I send in the app are like when you reply to a comment or get a reply to a comment, or when you make a charge or something. But yeah, it's pretty bare, but Postmark does the job for me there. So I think that's square. Cool. I'll close that file for now. I hope I don't regret that. So test, I'm going to just say overwrite. I don't think I modified much there. Assets, we'll go check that out. App. Config. Initial, where is it at? I think it is an initializer. Assets. So I need to copy these files. I have separate, I'm going to just copy this as a new file real quick. I have separate pages that I add new CSS files to, and this is where you can declare those. They output completely different CSS related to your big bundle on the app. So I'm going to say overwrite for now, and it's going to change this to that, but we need to uncomment this line, and I'm going to add that back here. There we go. You can load additional asset paths if you have more than like an image in your images file, assets images. You can add another folder there if you want. This is how you declare that stuff. Pretty handy. The asset pipeline does some cool stuff. Content security. I remember, I think I updated this with using what? No, I didn't do that. Okay. I think I added something else though. Maybe not. But this is, if you're using like Vue or something locally, you need to declare some of this stuff. Just a weird quirk. I'll just override it for now. And filter parameter logging RB, I'll go ahead and say yes. I think that's new. Inflections, I forget what this file is for, but it's inflections are specific rules defined with locales. So okay. So if you want to like change the way something pluralizes or is more singular, like a resource on your controllers, you can do that here and modify them. Sometimes that's handy. I'll just say yes. I didn't change it. Bin rails, yeah, we'll update that. Bin rake, sure. Setup, yeah. And then it installs default time zone must be either UTC default or local. Okay. I think that's an error on my end then. I might remove these. It's not really crucial. So we updated this. Active storage update. I might do that again. Sprockets needs to expected to find manifest file and config manifest. Okay, so we need that config, new folder. Oh, not there. App assets. I think it's in assets. Assets config. Okay, so we need a config folder here. You might have this. I think I deleted it for some reason. Manifest. JS. This is how the asset pipeline knows what to actually compile. So we'll add these. I don't have a JavaScript folder though, so I don't think it's, that needs to be in there. So I'm gonna omit this line for now. But we do have style sheets, so I'll go ahead and add those. There's really nothing in these besides these files, which I pulled from previous sites. And it's minified because I honestly just copied and pasted it from the live site. I don't need to change it. Okay, so with that, let's try one more time to run that command. Here we go. That copies a new migration, and I think it just adds a new, I really don't know what it does, but let me see if I can figure it out. A new blob checksum. I don't want to pretend I know what's going on, but we'll go ahead and say that's great. Okay. And let's see. What else do we need to do now? We got that running. Let's see if we can get the app to boot at this point. It does. Now we're not going to have like anything here because I don't have any of the files, but we didn't even run those migrations. Can't load SAS file. What the heck? There's a way around this. I forget what it is. I think what could be the problem is I have it still in the lock file. I'm going to delete that and run it again. Okay. I'll make a new window too. Maybe it's cached in some weird way. Okay, and Rails server. I don't think it's running. Right here, post controller index. Why would it be doing that? There's a temporary file in your app. If you're ever not sure, it's right here, and there's cache, boot snap, like this shit. I'm gonna, I forget the actual command, Rails. If you just say Rails and look up all the commands that come back, there's gonna be quite a few. Temp clear, temp create. I think that does it. Oh, that's why. I was trying to install these as SAS files and they're CSS files. Change those. We're gonna move all of our stuff in a minute too. That was it. It was trying to be too smart and say, hey, those are SAS files. I'm trying to compile them, but I don't have a compiler. So that's what happened there. All right. Let's, don't need this. I'm going to move this back over so it's not the full view. I'm using an app called Magnet, by the way, that does that stuff. I just drag it to one side and it's pretty useful. Used to record on a laptop and the enter button it's the stupidest reason, but the enter button's sticky, so I am not right now. This is actually a Mac Mini that I'm on with a LG 5K screen. Finally made the plunge, and it's great. I wish it were a little bigger. I'm used to actually a 34-inch monitor, but I prefer 5K to 4K, being designer man. Okay, let's double check the guide here. I think we got everything. I don't know if that's even on my application file. So application, we want to load 7 defaults. I don't know why 6 is here. And see if we can do that. There we go. All right. There might be a file that gets generated that is new framework defaults. There's a file here kind of giving you an overview of what's changed and what you can modify here. I think you can safely delete this since it's commented out, but up to you if you want to do that. There's probably something in the guide that mentions it right here, or else you not be able to. Okay, we're still using Mini Magic there. A lot of different changes to active storage, so I'd recommend reading up on that. You can change resize and pad format. It's really interesting. All these different variants you can do. WebP supported, I like that. This is nice. New resize function. Resize to limit still works, which is nice. Okay. I think we're close. What I want to do is install CSS bundling now. So let's go find that. CSS bundling Rails. And that dummy app we created, we did that at the command line level, but since this is an old app, I can't quite just run that again in this regard. But it does have, luckily, another install we can use, and you just pass whatever framework you want. I'm going to use PostCSS because, like I said before, the Tailwind one works great, but it's not. You're not able to use components. Like I'll show you. I tend to batch things up with Tailwind to be like component level things. So in this case, maybe a form has an input class, and we can just go through and componentize that using these add apply rules, which is kind of very much PostCSS. You can do that with Tailwind, but you need this kind of compilation behind the scenes to run it, and it runs now as a more of a command line tool as opposed to compilation through Webpack. So we'll actually have a scripts, which I'll add now. Not add it now, but I'll show you. It's going to be the new scripts thing we run. And actually, it's going to get added by the gem when we run this installation. So let me do that real quick. I'll just shut this down. I'll do Rails install. I'm going to use PostCSS, like I said. And it might have a conflict because I have a file here. We're probably going to remove some stuff. In fact, I might just do that just so it creates it and it's fresh, and we'll reconfigure it from there. Don't know how to run. Oh, we need to add the gem. That might be a good start. And yeah. Gem file. Let's see, CSS bundling. Bundle. Sweet. All right, one more time. Now it knows what to run. Cool. So that's already installed. Basically what happened is it created a few files, a proc file. If you have a proc file, I think it'll either ask you to like modify it, or it's a conflict, so you can either update it or not. I used to have one that did more of, I had it, I think, for just running Foreman in my local environment anyway. If you don't have Foreman, you'll need to install gem install Foreman. Looks like it runs it for you. But that allows you just to run multiple processes in one terminal. So you can run one command instead of like 4 terminals open to run each thing's, together. And there's a new one here. They're old school servers still running, but CSS in this case is going to be build CSS and then watch. It's going to have a new command in the file here, but what we want to do actually is say Tailwind, and then we'll pass PostCSS, I think is how you run it. I'm going to go to the Tailwind guide. I just switched back to Chrome. So a lot of the stuff I have is, I still need to type in the save sites. Don't really know why I switched. I think Firefox was just being slow and I got fed up. Small details. Okay, so installing this though, we've got PostCSS and we do have Tailwind installed, but it's not updated. So I'm going to update that. So I'm going to say yarn upgrade Tailwind CSS. We'll just say latest. Should update that. 2 whole versions. And we need for sure, what else do we need? PostCSS, I'll update that too. And then auto prefixer. Bash latest, should go grab the latest stuff. Auto prefixer, oh, I can't. I'm thinking of npm and yarn at the same time. All right, that should have updated your stuff here. I don't think we need the CLI. Yarn. What I want to do though is add PostCSS nesting. We've got that, might upgrade that. And PostCSS import. This kind of lets you have Sass-like qualities in your CSS. PostCSS is pretty cool about that. So any of these like import statements in my style sheets will now like be ready to roll. When you update this, one thing I need to do, since we're using PostCSS in particular, since we're going to use Tailwind, we need to rename this file to Tailwind. I mean, it would still compile the same way. I just prefer that convention. And then I'll do, instead of the at Tailwind stuff, I'm going to just do import, since we have the import statements now, Tailwind CSS base, and just kind of follow suit. So components, utilities. Okay. Eventually we'll add our own customized stuff in here, but I just want to get this up and running. So PostCSS config now has this. We need to require Tailwind. And also PostCSS import. We've got nesting and auto prefixer. Those are good. And I'm actually going to move we typically had our, since we're not using JavaScript to compile this anymore, I'm going to move my Tailwind config outside of that into the root of the app. And you could just create a new one if you want to, but this one's old. I'm just going to update it to be current. I'm going to remove this stuff. I've done this a few times now, so I know this is now content. Theme extend, this should be good. Yeah, I don't have too much stuff going on here. We could use plugins. I didn't use those in this app. Do I have view components? I think I might. No, I don't. Yeah, we can remove that line then. Nice, nice, nice. I don't know why extend isn't wrapping this. That's probably been a big bug for some time. Jesus. Maybe that's off. Why is it? I think I have one too many. No, that's right. I don't know. It's behaving weird. All right, variants. These are all already baked in. I don't even need core plugins anymore. All right. I don't know why this indentation's not working. Maybe there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, that's configured. Now, since it's at the root of the app, you don't have to pass any like directory to it. It's going to look there automatically like I've done in the past. But if you did want to move it somewhere else custom, you could pass the path here, like app blah, blah, blah. It's an option, basically. Okay, and now with this new file, we get application builds folder. So when you run your build using that yarn command, it's going to spit out the file here. That's going to you're going to want to update your application layout now to have that file, which we should, I believe, have. Style sheet link tag. It's going to reference this application file now instead of the other one, like this. That one's going to compile down into this folder, into that file. These are going to compile down separately. They'll be their own files, which we'll reference outside of the app. And the actual command here, I need to double check. Run dev. I wish he gave you more of a guide here instead of just dev. But I guess it's whatever. So we'll have application.tailwind, and then we'll output it to there. I think you can run. There's more on that. I think it's like a flag. I don't know. We'll find out. It's something like this, where you run tailwind, pass the PostCSS flag, and then pass that through. Input is that file. Output is that file, I think. All right. We could technically just run yarn build CSS and verify that works. It did. Okay, cool. So that should give us the default Tailwind framework, basically spit out. Sweet. All right, with that installed, that gets us close. We do need to move some CSS and stuff, but I'm going to install the JavaScript side of this too. I don't need a lot of JS in this app. I did use some, mostly just import or statements and stuff like that. ESBuild allows you to do that. We do need to figure out something for CSS. It doesn't really do CSS like Webpack can. So I'll figure that out in a second, but that's just something to think about. We do need to import, when this installs, we'll see what it does actually. So ESBuild is what we're going to look for next, or JS bundling. All right, same thing with this. We just install the gem file. I might need to organize this better. It's getting kind of out of hand. Run a bundle update or bundle install. We'll go fetch that, and then we can run our actual config, which is the same practice, basically bin install with whatever rollup compilation scenario you want here, depending on your app. I don't use a ton, so I don't need a ton. ESBuild is plenty. Again, it's going to append stuff to that proc file.dev, so we're able to do things more or less on the fly. So now we got a new yarn build and then a watch statement, which is nice. And that gives you the opportunity to, it's got a new folder. Notice the application file is now at the root of the folder, and you can put your builds in here. As far as stimulus goes, we need to install that. So Rails stimulus, Rails gem. I don't really know. I know it's a gem. This will help me install the other stuff. You can see how complicated this is getting though. Like it's all becoming componentized. You used to be, you could just say Rails new, but I guess upgrading an old app to this makes sense. I already installed this gem actually, so it's kind of useful. to run the generator at this point. And this will make sure we have stuff in the right file. Controllers index, I'm going to just say yes and over. Well, maybe not. Let me double check. Do I have anything in here that's crazy? No. Yes. And if you do use stimulus already, you're going to notice some different traits in the app where this is going to be imported now from a different controller. Instead of just stimulus, it needs to be hotwired stimulus. So follow the lead of the hello controller. You'll see it's kind of useful to keep that hello controller there for updates. So all these need to update. Could do some crazy grep command in the console, but I don't really want to. And cool. We'll get to these. I'm sure we'll see some errors coming up where it's just kind of wild. And there's some helpers. Okay. So import controllers. Cool. I don't know what else I really need in that case. Style sheets. These are going to move to our other stuff. We don't have these files anymore. We probably need active storage. What's the pattern to use here? We'll see if this stuff works. I really don't know. I don't use channels, so it's not a big deal. But I'm going to move this all to this file and see what barks. I'm sure some. I'm going to keep this one for now, just a reference. Web fonts definitely can't load in this way, so I'm going to remove that line and this line. We're already importing controllers. We could do, now we need to do a different path. Tippy's going to need a different pattern for CSS. I'm going to comment that out for now. I think we're good otherwise. And this will be, instead of turbo links, turbo. That's one thing I forgot. We're going to have to update that throughout the app. Well, that looks fun. I'm going to just move this to JavaScript. Leave it alone. We'll reference that elsewhere. That's probably in a file somewhere. I'm going to do that before I forget. Any pack tag needs to be now a... I need to install that gem. Gem install HTML beautifier. I'm on a new version of Ruby. I use that to do some sort of formatting in the file automatically. It's not great, but it works. jQuery 111, y'all. Come on. All right. Go back to application. I think we're getting close here. And yes, it would be good to do a bunch of git commits while I'm doing all this, but I'm just going full swing here. Anything that says turbo links, we want to be turbo. Probably do a find and replace here in a minute. And there's some ugly looking shit here. Old version of Stripe. Raven, okay, that's that. We've got dev now. This basically, if you've seen this file get added, it installs Foreman if you don't have it, and then it says Foreman start, and then pass the file to it, which is essentially this file that got generated here, and then we run all these processes at once, which is very useful. Okay. This adds the build command. ESBuild just gets all the JavaScript and just outputs to there. right there. So you get maps too, which is kind of nice for debugging and whatnot. That also added builds to the whole list, so now we don't have to like reference anything in particular. I think we might need style sheets. Maybe I'm wrong here. We'll find out. Okay. All right, let's do... just a basic bin dev. Now we can run a command bin dev instead of Rails server, and you'll see what this does, assuming it boots up. Yeah, we got issues here. Could not resolve channels, could not resolve that. So we can't do active storage. The require statement's not going to work here. So I think, let's go back and do that. Import channels. Let's see what they do on the other app, actually. The dummy. Go into our app, JavaScript application, Hotwire Turbo Rails. I guess channels. Yeah, it's even if you need channels. I'm gonna just honestly remove that. I don't use it. Action cable or whatever. Seems like a nice to have more than a need to have. All right, let's find out if this works. Okay, could not resolve storage. Okay. How do I do that? Do I need it? Let's see, active storage, JavaScript, Rails 7, something like that. I'm assuming that's the issue. Now we have it there. Okay. Okay, cool, it worked. Now, okay, we're getting somewhere. We got basic Tailwind stuff. The app looks like shit, but that's okay. Now we need to add all of our files. And let's see how many things are debugging here. Yeah, thought so. Issues. Send cookie cross origin save site. Screw you, Chrome. Okay, I want to add all of our components and style sheets next. I'm just going to copy this stuff over. Components and miss right here. Then we need to go through and name all these files and remove the underscore. That's not a CSS thing. You can fast forward. Maybe I've sped this video up. I'm not sure. And then we need to refer to that file before for the import statement. So I'm not going to copy this per se, but we'll just kind of use the same framework and import those on this file right after components. And I'll just remove these lines. Okay, I like to put .css for these. I don't think it's smart enough to know what those are. Right on. Now we can see about moving the fonts. Let's add this as its own file. Maybe just okay. And then there'll be a assets folder fonts. We're going to move it back to the pipeline instead of being a Webpack thing. Oh, not there, not there, not there, right there. Okay. The path to those fonts is going to be a little different though, so we need to address that. I'm not sure exactly what it would be. Maybe my editor will tell me though. There we go. So 2. I don't think you can do font URL anymore. I could be wrong. They might have removed that from the asset pipeline. Last one. All right, clean that up a little bit. I hope that works. We'll find out. Let's recompile things. Let's assume it's going to work. So far not. Rebuilding, done. Interesting. Wonder what happened here. Oh, I need to declare. Not really in order. Interesting. Wonder why that won't work. Nope. Oh, build CSS backwards. Done. Let's see what outputs, if anything. Oh my god. Mono. Yeah, it's doing some stuff. At font face. Yeah, we're not getting that file though. Imports. Why won't that work? Do I need to do... Ah. That's why. I think. We'll find out. Bin dev. Still not working. Wonder what's up with that. None of our custom styles are piped through yet. I'm trying to figure out why. I don't think I even need this. I notice I'm not generating all the files on the build either. Maybe it's turning into one build. Let's do that. Make sure you style sheets. I think it's link. I could be wrong. I think it's just link. Maybe. I don't fucking know. We'll find out if this errors out. This isn't working. Delete those for now and try one more time. Creates that file. Only tail and CSS stuff though, which is really weird to me. Why is it doing that? I guess this is being run, but it's ignoring sprockets. Asset pipeline. The only guide on the internet without search. Oh my god. And this is way out of date. There's nothing about the manifest file. That's freaking ridiculous. Config. Link directory. Okay. We could do fonts. I don't know if that works though. Man. It's doing the build, but it's not doing the CSS side of it, which is confusing to me. Alright, something's up here. Failed to find that. Something finally worked. I forgot to add the watch feature, I think, to that package.json. Or is it here? It is doing it there. Okay. Oddly not working though. What? Unexpected blank. Escaping special characters with blah, 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 blah. What the hell file? All right, we're still getting errors, and it's CSS. So I think something's up with. I think we're getting more CSS finally, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Unexpected blank. That's a terrible error. I don't know where to go. It must be a comment in the file that shouldn't be there, is my guess. Forward command or slash. That one's good. Right here. This stuff. Let's make it traditional CSS. Same with this. I don't know if that'll work. Add extend, anything like that's not going to work with this type of update. So if you're going from CSS to SAS, or from SAS to CSS, you're going to run into that. We probably have some way out of date classes for Tailwind. Maybe I updated that recently. I can't remember. This stuff you can't do. So, damn, that sucks. I guess I'll just content here again. It's the only place I use it. That's kind of funny. All right. I don't like how I wrote that, but we should be okay. A lot of old ways of writing stuff, but I can update that all later. It's not a huge deal breaker to me right now. I just wanted to build. Okay, so this is gonna bark, which makes sense. It's just like a syntax rules on comment. When you use this @screen thing, they typically want you to do. That's not gonna work either. Let's go to comment content. And go back to content. Where did I go? Right here? Yeah. We'll do traditional CSS here. Just, well, done. And so the @screen thing, like I was saying, all these should probably just have an @large. Honestly, we could just do. This is before you could do large stuff here, like large text 3XL. There we go. And same here. I'd rewrite so much of this differently. Oh well. All right, let's try that again. You'd think watching this it would update, but it's not. So at apply. Okay, let's go to that file, interactions. I'll just do this. The real way to write this, I think, is at apply, or at screen large, and then do this. And then you add these. So I need the custom stuff, but then this stuff I'll add as large before, large ML4. Just put large in front of all these. Damn. All right. What else is wrong? There we go. More. Post. Oh, there's probably a lot here we could make better. Man, I made this crappy. Again, this was years ago. I think I made all this so it wasn't like Tailwind was on version 1. It didn't support any media queries as classes yet. I think we're getting close though. Play inline block. All right, so we've got another one on the navigation. These extends can happen, so I'm going to go back into buttons. What did I just do? Button and button and transparent. So we'll say nav link. Not pretty, but it works. So then we can do that. Large here can be hover could do the same. I'll come back through offline and make this a lot more optimized. I was just wanting to do the main upgrade today to get my stack in order. I feel like a lot of people use a similar stack who are on the Rails train, so figured it'd be useful to see. Maybe I'm wrong. Any extend, like I said before, can't happen, so we need to account for that gray. These would need to be all large. So link, we'll just go nav link alt, find where link's at. I'm assuming it's in buttons. Link here. Go. Get rid of that extend. Okay, do that. And it built right on. Let's see if things reload and look better. Not yet. What happened here? No route matches this. Trying to figure out, it's like sort of loaded, but not. Okay, we're getting issues with fonts. Still getting an issue there. Inline display. Why is that so hard to find? Let's see if font URL works. I'd love for that to work. So URL. Boom. I don't know if that's going to work. Oops. Where is my layout? SVG. It's funny because it's loading some styles, but my layout doesn't exist. What am I missing here? A lot of TurboLinks stuff. I'm confused why none of this is working. This sources. There's our style sheet. Maybe there's still a bug with their CSS. I kind of don't know. Or maybe I'm using old classes. It doesn't make sense though. There actually isn't anything Tailwind in this file. From what I can tell, there is, but it's not loading everything. So I think there's still something breaking, but it's not clear what that would be. I think our fonts are loading now though. Jesus. Yeah, we're not getting our utility classes for whatever reason, so something's off here. Comment these out. I don't know why this isn't watching either. What does our demo app do? I know it has to do, just links that for whatever reason. Because that's going to build. Okay. So how do I link? I don't know that this works. That does work. Really old product here, but I just want to make sure I'm linking correctly to the CSS, which it seems to be. What the hell? A lot of junk here. Oh well, though. I'm just trying to find the output CSS. I don't see it. That's the funny thing. So let's try another one. This one. Yeah, this one isn't working either. It's not building it. That's what's weird. All right, I need to figure out this configuration. Config manifest Rails. There's nothing on it. It's so aggravating. Like, how do I just link a file? This isn't anything to do with it. Here we go. Link directory. Maybe I'm missing that. You just do link. I see. Let's try this once more. Nope. I'm trying to figure out why that is even loading the application CSS. I guess because I have, no, it's a different head tag. This is aggravating. Maybe if I do precompile, see if this breaks. So that goes back out to public, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, there we go. Application, stimulus, turbo. So if we reboot that, does that work? No. What is going on? Okay, that one worked. If we go to products, our main root styles aren't loading, but I got my product to do that with the precompile action, which is useful. But I don't know why books is there. I don't know if you can do fonts or not. I'm gonna possibly run that again. So Rails assets precompile. This gets run when you when you like deploy your app typically. So it's kind of a neat command. It'll generate stuff. You can see it for the public view. So it's all linked to in this view instead of anywhere else. So we're getting assets here, but I'm confused why I cannot boot this up locally. And it's aggravating. Long story short. So JavaScript style sheets. I'm going to delete this file or folder. Same with packs. I don't need it now. Controllers we'll keep. Components we'll keep. Web fonts we don't need. So we've got very close to final here. I'm puzzled on the local asset issue. So Rails dev, I'm not getting any errors, which is the problem. Bin dev. Like we're bundling, we're getting CSS, reloading, done. Where is my files then? You know, like here's the live site, but nothing's here. And I'm trying to figure out what is up. Like Chrome isn't telling me much. Maybe I'll go to Firefox. These errors are confusing. It's like same site issue, but like doesn't really give me any feedback. MetaMask. Oh, I don't need MetaMask. Like I can't get my components to load. I think, okay, here's why. We're extending shit. Okay. I'll have to do fine tooth stuff with CSS. I think that's what's happening, but Tailwind isn't like smart enough to show it or something to that effect. Need to look for any extend and get rid of it. We could do at extend. There we go. Yikes, all kinds of stuff. So forms, we'll go back to that. Actually, I'm gonna just keep this. I don't care about duplicating code. Let's do this bit. On the CAPTCHA. Label, we'll go get that code. CAPTCHA. I'm going to just copy this over to the buttons. Wait, which button was it? Button transparent, button small. So button. And I'll just copy, I'll go back to the CAPTCHA since I don't want to make it too dirty. We'll go back here, this, and then just copy the classes from the small button, which are just a couple, and paste those here. All right, I think that's part of the problem. I wish it was more explicit in telling me. At apply, okay. Again, I'll come back and make this nicer. You can do a lot of this in line with Tailwind now. You don't have to do these at apply or at hover statements. But I'm trying to keep this video shorter than it needs to be. It's already very long. I apologize for that. But this is a process and a half. So it's one of those things that's kind of a pain in the ass. But you'll be thankful you do it. Because once your app gets too far out of date, it suddenly becomes a huge hurdle to get it going again. So, all right. Moment of truth. Nothing. Perfect. There's still something off. Do we get any bugs? Nothing. I love it. We're getting all of our styles, but something's breaking once it hits the end of the train here. So we're not getting any of the utility classes from Tailwind, which is the problem. So there's still something up that I'm not seeing. I'm trying to go fast, and that's the problem. I need to take more time. Any extends? Let's do one more add extend. Maybe it's gonna be too hard to see. Maybe a comment is in the mix somewhere I'm not seeing. Might be this. Let's see this. I don't know why I have this here. Let's put it in the components on this. All right. Still not seeing a ton that's giving me bad vibes here. I mean, obviously the code could be improved, but maybe it's this font URL thing. I don't fucking know. What is it doing? Font URL. Yeah, that's not real CSS, so that's not going to work. Maybe that's the issue then. I was hoping that'd compile, but it's not going to work that way. So URL. What's funny is the fonts are like working. Maybe it's falling back. Tedious. This is all tedious stuff. It's annoying. All right, fonts. Video there. That's like legit it. So I'm kind of lost as what could make this not work now. This is mind bending. Okay, there's error. Failed to compile component tag CSS. Is it? Oh, it's tag. Okay, we're still not getting the stuff here. Maybe I will comment this out, see what's not building. Are we getting? Yeah, it's just not working. It's mind-bending. Maybe this? No. Like, did it come after here? There's the utilities. Or some, anyway. Maybe we have our config set up weird. App. I don't know if that would work. Let's do this. I think it's clear. Clean. This is puzzling. Now I'm not getting utilities because they're there. Like, I wish it's not reloading either. This is aggravating. Yeah, it stops after our custom CSS, which it should not do. What is actually wrong with this? I really hate that they don't show anything to do with the build command. Maybe that's what's wrong. I'm mixing CSS and imports. Let's pull that back, go into basics, and just add this here. Get rid of that. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't really know. This is insane, though. Nothing's wrong. I am just not getting my Tailwind. There we go. We got some stuff. Where are my, like, layout classes? Got nothing here. Like, I don't have yellow. This is supposed to be yellow up here. Flex. There's no flex. Class. Do I have something linked wrong? Like, I don't... Maybe that's the JavaScript. I don't have that linked, so that's an issue, but I wouldn't assume the styles would matter, right? I think that's what they normally recommend. Guess I did mean JavaScript. Okay, there's that, but still. All right, here's what I'm gonna try to do. I feel like it's a purge thing that's gone wrong. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm going to pause from here and figure this out, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I got a little further. It's not done yet, but I did get more stuff to work in my favor. So what I ended up doing, I was running that weird command, assets precompile, and what that does is actually create files in your public directory, which your app refers to at that point. So little did I know I needed to like clobber those assets and remove them. So if you do Rails assets clean, it does a little bit, but if there's another command called clobber, which just removes that file, and it basically allows you to regenerate a build. And when I finally did that, I realized some of the stuff, was loading and some of it was not. So finally I reran the server and it actually worked in my favor for once. Now at this point, I still have some issues with fonts loading, and I think what I'm going to end up doing, rather than throw them in the asset pipeline, I'm just going to put them in the public directory and link to them on my own. So just refer to them there, and then that'll allow us to just kind of use a direct path to it, I believe. We'll find out. I'm going to see if this works after updating this file in our CSS. And I'm going to reboot the server real quick. And we'll get rid of fonts in our config. I added those there just to try to compile them down. It just wasn't working for me, so I'm going to redo that. And we're very close. We're still getting some errors here. So I think we can do fonts. Where did I put that? Miscellaneous fonts. Maybe this will do the trick. These are going to end up compiling down, and then my goal is to serve it from the public directory. So my thought is we do this, fonts. Here's what I'm thinking. Maybe this will work. It's trial and error, so forgive me if this is boring and time consuming, but sometimes this is what you gotta do. Just gonna tweak this till it maybe works. I'm going to rebuild. See if we get any bugs. It worked. Okay. So now that's serving straight from our public directory. And honestly, that works plenty fine. You don't need, anything too more sophisticated than that. We get our actual layout. Everything should be working fine. We've got some stuff related to, I've got a double fonts here. I think I might have dubbed that wrong. Yeah, right here. That should resolve. There we go. Now we're getting stuff I want. That looks a little off, but we can fix that with some class names and stuff. But all in all, I think we're very close here. JavaScript, I think, is working. We'd get a lot of errors. Recaptcha placeholder must be empty. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, we're using the ES bundling situation now. So we've got our console, our main application here. I did notice some of the stuff I've used is out of date, like highlight.js. So we can install that in a new way. Let's see where I can do that. I think it's in package.json. Yarn upgrade. I'll do that. Did that even change? I'll just do latest. There we go. I might do clipboard too. And I'm going to leave Braintree alone for now, just because I know that might come with some consequences if I just update it without really giving it. Okay, cannot resolve this. Let's see, why is that? Where is this even at? 9? Oh, okay. Can we just install it like this? Because that'd be sick. I think that did work. Okay. So that gives us our look and feel here. We've got a hello world. Pretty cool. One other thing I want to figure out is like signing in. I don't even know if I have a login locally. So I want to make sure you can. Okay, yeah, everything's freaking turbo. So all of our forms need to have, I mean, in the case of this stuff, I don't need turbo on a lot of these forms. So what I might do is go through each and, just do data turbo false. Really only like to use it personally on like real-time data. I don't get why we need to add it to everything, but maybe I just don't understand it well enough yet. That's a very good use case for that being the case. I don't know if I'm doing this right. Data turbo false. Let's go to, let's double check. Sign up. New. Let's make sure I'm doing this in the right spot with like 1 as an example. I'll try it again. Andy, I might have created it, so I might if it gives me an error, then it's fine. Yeah, email is already taken. Okay. So I am getting, there we go. Link to, oh yeah, I have confirmation on this stuff. So missing host to link to, provide the host parameter. Okay, that's new. That is on an email. Yeah, confirmation instructions. So where the hell is that? on devise. I don't know if that'll work because it's in an email. Okay, regardless, now we can log in. If I can type, holy Lord. All right, that worked. If I go to account, ooh, why isn't that even rendering? Registration, edit, I think I fixed. This is off. What in the hell? We want to get rid of tabs. I don't know that that's going to fix anything, but all right, something's still off. Do I need to register all these? I think I do. Okay. Damn. I know you could loop through them somehow, but I'm not going to do that. So so they're all going to say that. Why is that? Let's see what this does. Just as an example. Rails generate stimulus sample. Oh, that's why it's wrong. Okay. If we ran stimulus manifest update, that's going to make the difference. All right. So that gets repetitive. I am sure there's a better way to do that, but I'm going to leave it. I just want this app to load, you know. Fade out from helpers. Go. Any other helpers? No. Okay. All right. There we go. We got it. We got it. Minus some errors there, which it's just a, hey, update your naming conventions kind of thing. This is like gotcha. I don't know if anyone's ever saw this, but when you leave or if you delete your account, I play the Kill Switch Engage End of Heartache just for fun. I don't know why, but it's funny to me. Okay, I think we're very close. Edit, cool. If I do a new post, this is what my new post stuff looks like. These things seem to be working. Some style tweaks here and there because Tailwind updated some stuff. Like this is all kind of wacky, but yeah, cool. I think we're getting close. I think we're good actually. I'll address a lot more of the little minor tweaks before I push this out there, but look for a new update of that soon. I've got just dummy content locally just to see, you know, some stuff. Like here's some user related stuff and post responses. Very basic. I went with my own analytics and stuff behind the scenes because I don't feel the need to reinvent the wheel anywhere too much or use something hugely extendable, you know. That goes to that site. Yeah, okay. Awesome. I think we're ready, guys. So I appreciate you following along if you made it this far. I know it's kind of a pain to watch someone stumble their way through something like this, but I wanted to just show you a day in the life, more or less, and see how I went about, updating stuff, removing old dependencies, and, struggling through it all. So hopefully it was useful. And yeah, if you have any requests for future stuff, let me know. I'll be around. So leave a comment on the YouTube or on my actual blog here, and I'll definitely respond. All right, peace out.